Good evening, class. My name is George Van Devender. I have been pastoring for about 40 years now, and I'm a church planter. My wife and I have been married for 42 years, and we've pastored in 10 states, 11 churches, and we founded 4 of them ourselves. And so the 3 questions that I asked a couple people in our church, 3 different people, would first of all be my wife Kathy. And the first question was, how do you see my relationship to the congregation as I am preaching? And Kathy says she sees it in a positive light, and that I keep the kids and the adults interesting and make it applicable to all ages of level of the kids and the adults. Our assistant pastor named James Shaw, he said that they relate and respond positively and have grown. We have grown the church from 6 people a year ago to over 40 now in the congregation, and now we have our own building. So they respond positively. And a good friend in the church is Danny, and he said that, how do you see my relationship to the congregation as I am preaching? He said, preaching in truth and without fear or favor. So I'm glad they feel that way about that. And number 2 is, how do you see my relationship to the men or the women of the church? My wife Kathy says, I try to understand where they are coming from, and that I am listening to them and attentive, and they enjoy that time that they have to counsel with me or spend with my wife and I in counseling. Pastor Shaw said he thinks it's a positive relationship because they see me lead and not ask them to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. And then my friend Danny says he describes me as off the hook. I guess you have to interpret that any way you can. Anyways, he said that I was awesome, off the hook. I was personable and real, and a pastor's pastors is what his exact words were. So number 3, it says, what can I do to improve my relationships in the community? So my wonderful spouse says to support fundraisers that are in the community and make a presence in the community, but most of all to start the ACTS program, talk with the judges and the case managers of people who are on alcohol and drugs and need to have recovery, and start the ACTS program. It's a program that our denominations come up with to help those who are recovering, and it's done through our church. Pastor Shaw says that he'd like to see us volunteer more for like the city boards and have an input in our community. And my good friend Danny says he'd like to see me become a police chaplain, at least on a part-time basis. So that's how that I could improve my relationships within our community. Hey, I'm looking forward to spending this time with you all for the next 16 weeks, and appreciate the sacrifice that Dr. Perry has given to teach this class. You have a good evening. Goodbye.